Okay, algebra students, let's look at an example that a lot of students make a mistake on. So I want to compare two different problems for you. P squared plus 11p squared versus 10w squared minus 3w. So if you remember, we learned that we can only combine, meaning adding and subtracting, like terms. Like terms have the same variable portion. All right, that means that they have the same letter, but it also means that those letters have the same exponent. So it needs to be an identical variable portion. Think about this. Is 3 the same as 3 squared? No, 3 is not the same as 3 squared. And similarly, p is not the same as p squared. So look at my first example. I have a p squared term and another p squared term. These are like, they can combine. Now, one thing you should know though, is that if you just see a p squared by itself, how many p squareds is that? Well, count it. There it is. It's just 1. So that's a single solitary p squared. So if I'm going to add that, then I get 1 plus 11. I get 12. And 12 what? Well, I was counting up my p squared. So it's still p squared. Okay, so a few things to take note of here. One, I can combine them because they have identical variable portions. 2, if you don't see a coefficient, a number out front, we have I call an invisible one. Shouldn't say we call it that. I call it that. And then finally, when you add and subtract, you're just gathering up a certain number. You're saying I have 12 of this p squared. And so my exponent is not going to change. Just like if I'm adding apples and apples, I still have apples. I don't have some weird morph of apple squareds. All right, nice job. But now compare that to the next example. The next example, the two terms, this one is a w squared term, and this one is a w term. The variable portion is not identical. Again, it's not enough for them just to have the same letter. They need to have the same exponent on that letter. A w is not the same as a w squared. Therefore, I cannot combine here. I cannot do the subtraction. This guy is already simplified. All right, strong work. Super proud of you. Happy learning.